our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Reaching out to Filipinos worldwide, the now of digital entertainment with studios in Manila, Bacolod, Hong Kong, and Los Angeles, California. This is V81 Radio Worldwide.
V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not necessarily state or reflect those of the company and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests do not reflect those of the host, the show, this station, the management, and the network. Hey, basketball junkies! Are you a beginner coach wanting to build the right foundation for your coaching know-how? Are you a player or a fan in research of the right source of basketball IQ, skills, and more? Well, if you are, BOUNCEPASS is for you. We bounce key foundational knowledge about a game and pass it on to you for practical use in taking their basketball knowledge and skills to the next level. Here now are Coach Mike Perez and Coach James Tolentino as they tackle everything hoops. This is BOUNCEPASS. Only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Wednesdays nights are always at 7 p.m. would be Bounce Pass night here at V81 Radio Worldwide. Thank you very much for joining us, and what an exciting, what a dandy episode we will have para sa gabing ito. Just for you guys, our followers here in Bounce Pass. And of course, to help me out with tonight's episode, very special one, I'd like to welcome in my co-host, Coach James Tolentino. Coach James, how are you? Good evening, Coach.
Good evening, everyone who's watching right now. We appreciate your love and support, and very excited to talk to Gabe Norwood, one of the pillars of Gilas and one of the pillars of the current Philippine basketball landscape. Ang dami niya. Ang dami niyang na-share sa amin, and very down-to-earth person. I can't imagine how down-to-earth he is with all the accolades that he has gotten. Grabe,
Yep.
grabe. Grabing bait nitong tao na to.
Sobrang humble and almost the complete package. And when we talk about package, of course, we want to thank our sponsors who have been helping us out here at Bounce Pass. We'd like to thank JT Financial, Nintai, a complete basketball academy. I would like to thank DL Cervantes Construction Corporation as well, DHB Glass and Aluminum, J Grit Glass and Aluminum, Spartan Street Trading Corporation, Tablescape, for anything on kitchen and dining wares that you guys need. The local government of Budin, Ilocos Sur, led by Mayor June Versosa, Aesthetic Clinic, and Manok na Puti Grill House, Dexter's Pizza located in Tunasan in Marcelo Green Village, the Rotary Club of San Pedro 3820, AAA Security Agency, Incorporated Ground Tech Engineering Services, Hoosier's Clothing for our beautiful shirt here in Bounce Pass, and of course Astro Breaks for your basketball card needs. And of course, if you are in need, want to know about the best kept secret of Batangas, well, here it is. Instead of checking in sa mga large resorts dito na kayo sa Gunita mag-book with only 8 suites. You can pick your own corner in an expansive resort of 2.5 hectares. You can stroll around the garden mask-free, and even rent your own ATVs. Super lapit lang. Dito siya malapit sa Barangay Padre Pio. That's in Batangas. And they have 4 rooms, which has its own pool, kitchen, living area, and so sure kayo that your family and yung mga kasama niya talaga namang mag-enjoy. For your increase on Gonita Pavilion and Resort, you may call 09568 391-269 or 0956-839-1269. We'll give an automatic shout out if you comment it on the section below, the numbers that we just give you. And then we're looking forward to everyone just having our visit over here at Gunita Ruiz Villas and Pavilion. Napakaganda dito, Coach James, ano?
Sobrang ganda niyan. I was there in a couple, in a wedding, tapos na-visit ko yung place nila. Talagang it's a place to be in, lalo na pag gusto mo mag-relax with your family, lalo ngayong panahon na to with all the things that's happening. Talagang Gunita, bagay yung word na yon. They will greet you with warmness and relaxation. You will feel refreshed and energized pag pauwi ka na. Meron pa rin mga ATVs dyan, para pwede kayong mag-enjoy.
Right. And of course, we also would like to thank V81 Radio Worldwide for making this happen for all of us so that we can share and have more reach with this episode of Bounce Pass. So to everyone viewing us right now online on Facebook and everywhere else, V81 Radio is available on 14 digital platforms. So you can see us in Spotify, you can see us in Facebook, in YouTube, Apple Podcast as well. And if you have Amazon Fire TV, you can watch us there too. We're on Spotify, like what I mentioned earlier, Pandora Box. And you can download the V81 Radio app on your Amazon TV device and even on your mobile phone. If you want to listen to V81 Radio, just go over and download the V81 Radio app. That's available in the App Store and the Google Play. And lastly, if you have Alexa at home, if you have an Echo Dot, then you can just head on over to Alexa and tell them, Alexa, play V81 Radio, and immediately you'll be get the latest stream of programs that they have in Amazon Alexa. All right, so there you have it.
But a word of warning
Radio.
lang. But a word of warning for lahat na may mga Alexa, paalam nyo yun sa wives nyo na yung Alexa, ano yun, it's an app or it's a machine. Baka mamaya akala may ibang Alexa doon.
Kayo. All right. Coach, I know everyone's been waiting for this. Without much further ado, we'd like to welcome our next guest. This guy's, he's really done a lot of things already. 2-time PBA champion, rookie of the year, the number one draft pick in 2008. I mean, we're going to learn more about this guy. Coach James, are you ready to welcome our guest? We good?
Yes, we're ready.
All right. So,
Yeah, we're
ladies
good.
and gentlemen, let's give a bounce pass, a welcome to our first special guest for tonight. It's Gabe Norwood of Rain or Shine.
Hello, Coach Mike, Coach James, and to everybody listening. Just happy to be here at Bounce Pass. Should be fun.
Right. And
Good
Gabe, we'd
evening
like
to you,
thank
Gabe.
good evening, Gabe. We'd like to thank you for gracing our invite. Well, I'd like to thank also my son, Maui Perez. He's the one who got this through and Really appreciate you joining us tonight. We've been talking a lot of stuff, and
I
before
think Coach
anything,
Mike is
maybe
having problems with his connection right now. So good evening, Gabe. Good evening. I think
Good evening. Good evening.
it's just third world problems right now with the
yeah,
connection
It
and
happens.
all
It
the things.
happens.
Yeah, it happens. It
yeah.
happens. You know it. You know it. You've been training
Yeah.
in Zoom.
Yeah, for sure. We all know and had to adjust over these last 14, 15 months. So make the most of what you have.
Well, maybe we can start with your shout out, Gabe. If there's anything that anyone you wanna greet, anyone shout outs out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, definitely want to shout out. Hopefully, my family's tuned in, from my wife in the other room to family abroad. All of our Rain or Shine fans that continue to support during, this long break, and definitely, Aloha Eats. If anybody's hungry tonight and wants to throw a order out on Grab Food, Norwood Aloha Eats, some Hawaiian inspired dishes, and also a special shout out to Astro Breaks. They've been looking out for me. It's fun to get back into collecting and into the hobby of sports cards. So, I think that's what I got for now. And if I have any more shout outs, I'll let you know.
All right. Since when you gotten back into basketball cards, Gabe? Is it just during the pandemic, or you've been at it before?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid growing up, it was more, just kind of fun if you had, spare change, or, your birthday or Christmas or something like that. You can go buy a pack of cards and just have fun. But the hobby's totally different now. Some people are in it to collect, some are investing and kind of using it for that avenue. But, overall, the community here is awesome. I think everybody knows how much the Philippines loves basketball, especially the NBA. So it's been fun to be, connected through the sport, through a hobby like collecting cards.
Right. And what other stuff are keeping you busy now, aside from, of course, practice in with the team in preparation for the next season at the PBA? Anything else that keeps you busy, Gabe?
Really, just being a father, having three sons, my wife and I, kudos to my wife. She does an awesome job homeschooling this past year. I help out where I can. I'm more of the PE teacher, I think, the physical education teacher than anything else. But that was probably the biggest difference, just being home and really just being able to build that relationship with my sons on a different level, was a blessing. As bad as things have been, you really have to count your blessings. And that's one that I really appreciate, getting to know my 10-year-old, my 9-year-old, and my soon to be 4-year-old, on a deeper level.
Yeah. Anyone playing basketball right now with your sons? Who's interested in basketball?
They all are. My kids, they
They
just
all are?
love
Wow.
sports. Yeah, they love sports. A lot like myself growing up in the States. My dad coaches American football, college football. I have two brothers that played, college football. I played basketball. So it was always something. Whatever season it is, we like to play. And luckily for me, my kids love to watch as well. So we try to do a little bit of everything in the house.
Yeah. Who among your
Wow.
kids are actually what's the favorite sport of any of your kids?
Basketball
Any
for sure. Yeah, basketball. They all love the game. Cash is more the traditional. He's more of my cerebral. He's the thinker. Orion is he's a lefty. My middle son is the lefty, so it's fun trying to teach him.
Mhm.
And then the youngest is 4 years old. He just likes to run around. He just likes to be with his kuya. So it's always a good time.
They call each other Kuya.
Yeah,
Yeah, wow. That's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
Growing up, do
How
you
did you
call your older brother Kuya as well?
Oh, I'm the eldest, so they.
Oh, you're the others. They call you
Yeah,
Kuya as well. My bad.
yeah, not too much. It was actually something that they embraced. I was blessed with the opportunity to be here and really represent my family and the sacrifices that were made, years, decades before me,
Yeah.
to really, come back. So it's been cool to connect my family back to here as well and be kind of like our family representative.
I guess your family's been really a lot into sport, with your dad being a defensive coordinator in
Yeah.
football, and your
Yeah.
brother playing for football as well. So I'm assuming that you met Lay via sports as well. Did she play any sport, or was she a fan?
No, she actually, when we met, she didn't know who I was, which is a blessing. I think that was a good thing. We met here. she's actually from here. She's from Davao. My wife Lay she went to
Oh.
attended UP. So she's happy now. UP's back on the good side of basketball. So she's a proud UP alum. I guess by default, I'm a Maroon as well. But yeah, we met through mutual friends, and yeah, kind of hit it off and been together basically since the day we met.
What was it like growing up? By the way, I'm a football fan. I'm a Patriots fan.
Okay.
Sorry,
Nice,
Gabe.
nice. Hey, I
I'm a
respect
Tom
it.
Brady
You
fan.
got to
I'm
go
a,
with the winner.
yeah, I'm a Patriots fan. Yeah. No, but way back. This was way back, 2006. I think I was started being a fan
Okay.
of them. But how was it like growing up in a household where your dad is a coach and was really inclined into sports and with that kind of discipline? I know how disciplinarians, football coaches are back in the US. So tell us about how was it like growing up in that environment?
Highly competitive. I think just by nature, my dad, the same way he grew up playing other sports. It wasn't just football. He loved the game of basketball. He was always, really supportive of the other sports programs at the universities that he was coaching. So, we played everything. My brother and myself, we're close in age. My oldest brother is Jordan, who played for the Denver Broncos. And then there's a little
Yeah.
gap. And then there's my brother Levi, my sister Brianna, and the youngest
Mhm.
brother Zachariah. But it was always just fun, man. It was awesome to be in the house where, you'd never bored. We got to go out and, whether it's running around and throwing the football or playing soccer, playing on the East Coast. We live on the East Coast. So, we had friends who played lacrosse. So trying to play lacrosse or basketball, anything that we could compete at, we did. And it was all through love and wanting to push each other to get better. So that was something my dad instilled in us to work hard, but to compete at a high level and want to get better.
Well, Gabe, you already have one greeter on the comment section already. Kevin Kent Takal
Oh, nice.
K-Rax says, Kuya,
Oh,
Gabe.
K-Rox, man. Take it easy this year, K-Rox. I know you're coming back healthy. You got a lot to prove. So I'm excited to see you back out there, man.
Yeah, but speaking of a lot to prove, Gabe, your dad coaches football. I want to understand, did you start out playing football or did you go directly to basketball?
No, I played football, probably started around 7 years old. At that time, usually youth leagues, you have to play flag football. So they're pulling your flag, you're not tackling yet. But I played from 7, basically all the way up into my freshman year of high school. I was a quarterback. So, I started getting taller and the school that, for those that don't know a lot about football, a lot of the quarterback today is basically just out there throwing, and that's strictly it. But a lot of times, growing up, we ran a play called the option. So the quarterback was running a
Yep.
lot. I was running, I was pitching. So I think I was getting hit a lot more my freshman year of high school than I was used to growing up. And I kind of hung up my cleats from there and focused solely on basketball after my freshman year of football was done.
QB1, huh? QB1.
Yeah. Looking back, it would have been fun. 6'5". I don't know what I would have weighed if I would have stayed with football, but I
Yep.
might have had a chance.
Cam
Yeah,
Newton right there.
grown big,
Cam
right?
Newton.
Right.
So when you got into basketball, I assume being a QB in football, you played point guard immediately.
Yeah. Growing up, that was really, what I did. I played the point, started playing organized basketball at 5 years old. Like my earliest nickname was Little Magic. I guess
Mhm.
I was always a bigger guard, but just loved the game. Always loved the game, and moving around a lot. My dad coached at various universities. He was in Arizona. He was in Richmond, Virginia, the Naval Academy in Maryland, Texas Tech, Penn State. He was all over. So I was always the new kid, I kind of figured out in order for me to make friends and get in, basketball was usually my avenue or sports. And I kind of had to fill the void, if I lived in Arizona and, there was no playmakers on my team, I'd be that guy. If I moved to Virginia and there was no shooters and the only way I could play was to shoot, I sat and shot. So, it was kind of a cool way to adapt and always be, an asset to a team just for moving around so much.
Yeah, one of your other fans as well, Fran Louis, you says, Kuya Gabe, shout out from from the NBA
Fran.
cards family.
That's awesome. What's up, Fred? The family's growing. The card family's growing, man. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, when Justin says sa Kiefer Rebena get Kuya Gabe Philly. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Oh man, I need more Tyrese Maxey. That's my guy. That's my sleeper. That's my sleeper pick.
Well, I read somewhere, Gabe, that in high school when you were playing for State College, you had
Yeah.
this backcourt partner. I think his name's last name's Morse. You guys were
Yeah.
creating havoc from the back end. Talk to us about the way you partnered with him early in your high
Yeah.
school playing days.
Man, it was so much fun. I moved to the state college. That's the name of the town, actually, where Penn State is. But moved there my junior year of high school, which was a big year, in terms of being recruited and really trying to catch people's eye. And it was myself and Willie Morris. He was actually a year younger than me, but he was already on varsity. My brother at the time was on junior varsity. But going into my senior year, it was myself, Willie, and then my brother Jordan, so Jordan ended up playing the point. I moved over to the three, and Willie Morris, who I think is the all-time leading three-point shooter in our school's history, in the high school's history, was at the two. So we had a lot of talent. Myself, I ended up going to George Mason, Division I. Willie went to Colgate and then St. Bonaventure in New York, and then transferred to Colgate, which I think is also the same school that Alex Compton finished at. And then, my brother had a great, college football career. So that was the guards that we were having fun, just playing our roles and enjoying, high school and playing and we eventually won a state championship my senior year of high school alongside my younger brother and Willie Morris and a lot of other guys that ended up playing. We had another guy named John Stupar who actually played for the Patriots. He was with the Patriots for a second. He was the number one tight end in football at the time in the state. So it was a cool experience to share the court and to win at the highest level, in high school.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned about George Mason, you playing there, I think it's time to break Coach James's heart, right?
We've been waiting.
He's-
We've been
not
waiting
right.
for this. We've been waiting for
Right.
this.
Yeah, that's not right.
Talk to us about,
That's not right.
of course, we know that Cinderella story about George Mason. That's something else. Talk to us about the experience when you were going through that run in 2006.
Man, just unbelievable. Is the first word to think of. We were just truly blessed. In college basketball, it's rare to have, the same team 2 years in a row. My sophomore year, we had no seniors on our team. So, we brought back the same exact team. And coming into my junior year, which was the year we made the Final Four, we were just focused. We had great team chemistry. We were honestly like brothers to this day. We still have our group chat and we're active and we support one another. But that whole run was wild. There in the picture on the far side is Lamar Butler cutting down the nets. Lamar was one of our captains. And before the season started, Coach Jim Larinaga, who was our head coach, he's now the head coach of the University of Miami.
Yep.
He was big in getting us prepared, just mentally. He brought in a sports psychologist.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ask.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Dr. Rotella. Dr. Rotella.
Yeah, Dr. Rotella. So he really specializes more with individual sport athletes, golfers, tennis.
I like his book. His books are
awesome, awesome book. And he came in and spoke to us before the season started. And, he asked us all to close our eyes and kind of, visualize our team and, the obstacles and everything. And after he asked us to open our eyes and he asked Lamar Butler what he saw. And Lamar Butler, it's crazy that picture's there because Lamar Butler said he saw himself cutting down the nets.
Wow.
He saw it happening. And, throughout the course of that year, we would have practices where we would practice cutting down the nets. Like it was mental. It was something that we thought we could do. And, I think to this day, I think it was the most wins in George Mason history for a season. I think we ended up winning 26 games, 27 games. And that experience to share it with that group was truly special.
Yeah, what was crazy back then, I was following Dr. Rotella at that time. And he was telling about the George Mason thing. And it just breaks my heart because I predicted Michigan State to go all the way at that time. But what was the culture like when when you start, when Dr. Rutella started infusing those visualization things, did the culture change, or because the mentality is there, that you guys are going for the Final Four, and then the confidence is, did it skyrocket? What happened to the
I
culture?
think I think it was a boost. I think Coach L, is we called him Coach L, set a great culture in terms of how we approach things. Like I said, the year before we had no seniors, but we didn't. I think we finished like 500. We might have been like 15-15 or something like that. So that whole off season, it was super just business like. I think the coaches came in suits when we had to do our weights.
Mm-hmm.
Our preseason workout, we weren't allowed to talk in the locker room or in the weight room. It was strictly business and get out and do your work. And that was kind of our mentality going in. But when Dr. Rotella came in and kind of gave us the vision a little bit more, you know what I mean? We all wanted to work hard and do better than last season. I think that was our initial goal, but to really have our mindset to be like, we can really get this done. And this guy believes it. This guy believes it. The coaches believe it, and everybody was on the same page. I think that was just the added boost that we needed. And the season wasn't perfect. We had some rough patches, some bad losses, and things we wanted to change. But I think our foundation was set, and we weren't going to be wavered.
Yeah. And that story of course, George Mason in 2006 went to Bleacher Report's top 25 upsets in the past 10 years. And you guys had two entries there. One when you beat North Carolina, and of course that game with UConn. I mean, what was going through your mind when that free throw got missed and that game forced into overtime? That shot looked good though, the last 3-point attempt.
It looked great. And to be honest, I only saw it because I watched it on tape. I was on the bench, and right when I saw, I think it was Denham Brown, right when Denham Brown went for the step back, I had my head down and I was just waiting to hear. But that whole experience, we played, sorry, Coach James, but beating Michigan State, and then turn around and beating North Carolina in the first two rounds, and then moving on playing Wichita State and then Connecticut. It was just a wild experience, and like I said, the team was like the perfect scenario, the perfect storm. The year before we played Michigan State, we lost to them, I think by 6, in a tournament, like not preseason, but one of those out of conference tournaments that they have in the States. So our confidence was pretty high. We knew we had a better team than we did the year before. So we were pretty confident against them. And then North Carolina, we had played my freshman year, the year they won the national championship. Raymond Felton, Sean May, their team was stacked. And we played well against them as well. We were winning at the half and, at North Carolina. So we came in with the confidence. When we saw the brackets come out, we were like, oh, we can get them. We're not scared of those teams. And we proved it. We went out and played that way.
Yeah, what was funny in your NCAA run, every game, they were like discriminating, expecting you to lose. Up until the Final Four, they were like, they're about to give up, they're about to be broken down. But every time they get their hearts broken.
Yeah,
how was it?
Were
you guys reading that stuff? Was that motivation for you, or the coaches didn't allow you to read those stuff?
Not too much, because to be honest, once we got to the tournament, it was all fun for us. Coach L, he understood the work that had to be put in to get there. And then once we got there, I think that's why a lot of the country fell in love with us. We were super open to the media. We had, media with us. A lot of other coaches, especially the big time programs, they close the doors. They don't let anybody in. There's added pressure for them to win. But for us, it was just enjoy the moment. I think the day before we left we played the first round games in Dayton, Ohio. Instead of practicing, we played like wiffle ball, like the light baseball, and we were using foam bat. We were just having fun. We enjoyed it, and we knew we were the underdog no matter what. There was no need for added pressure for us. At the end of the day, it's the perfect scenario to be the underdog in the NCAA tournament. You lose, you go home. That was expected, but you win, it's everything. So it was the perfect scenario for us.
Yep, and even to this day, George Mason Patriots still looking at that story to inspire the new athletes to persevere and get to that point that you guys went to. Did you get that Final Four ring though, Gabe?
Yeah, got my ring. My ring's at home, safe with the family. But got one from the NCAA, and then also one from the school.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice.
so
That's super.
Wow.
You
it's not
guys
as it's
opened
not
the
as
gate.
nice as not as nice as my brother's Super Bowl ring, but it
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
It works.
Yeah, but that's
It
almost up
works.
there, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
But well,
yeah,
you
it's up
guys,
there. It's up there.
Yeah.
well, you guys definitely just burned those brackets down to the ground in
Yeah.
2006, and Coach James included as well got
Yep.
affected by
They beat
that.
the Patriots too. They beat the Patriots too. What's up with the Norwood brothers?
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Right. Well, it seems like we're having fun talking to Gabe Norwood right here, and we're gonna be right back. Bounce Pass will be right back. We're be talking more about Gabe's basketball journey here in the country after his Mason experience. And Bounce Pass together with Coach James and our guest Gabe will be right back.
Only here on V81 Radio Worldwide. Sa mga Ilonggo, pantayan sa 2021.
VA1 Radio, VA1 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, VA1 Radio.
An online community for the youth, aspiring entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, OFWs, SMEs, and social enterprises. Let Dear Door guide you as you build your personal, professional, and business goals. Dear Door will certainly be with you as you embark your journey and achieve desirable results. Write to Dear Door and be inspired by like-minded industry leaders who will share their experiences with the community. This is Dear Door with your host, Thor Villanueva de Maunahan. Saturdays, 6 p.m. Philippine time, exclusively on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Hi guys, I am Jeremiah Tiaco and you are watching Home Not Alone with Papa Gio on V81 Radio, Los Angeles.
Now back to Bounce Pass, only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. We're having fun, so much fun. Again, we would like to thank our sponsor, Gunita Villas. If you want to check them out, you can go to their page. It's just very near Alabang, 30 minutes away from the metro. And it's just beside or near Padre Pio in Batangas, Santo Tomas, Batangas. They have 8 suites, 2.5 hectares, expansive, very expansive and very nice. I'm very, very sure that your family will enjoy there. You can also have your weddings there or birthdays and what have you. Just call them up and they'll be ready to take your call. For
All right, so Bounce
reservations,
Pass. Go ahead.
go
Coach.
ahead. Go ahead, Coach Mike.
Yeah, and Bounce Pass here together with Coach James and of course our guest. Let's bring him in again, Gabe Norwood, and we've been talking about his history in the U.S. and playing in the NCAA Final Four. Now let's talk about you coming in the country. How do you get recruited from the U.S. going
Yes.
here?
Yeah, it was really the Final Four run. It just so happened that every year at the NCAA tournament, there's a huge coaching convention. Coaches from all over the world, not just college coaches, come out, and just so happened to be some local coaches out here that saw. I think it was my mom and my Lola walking around. I had my whole family there, and they were approached basically like, "Hey, do you have a kid playing, or is there something going on?" And sure enough, number 5 for George Mason. He has Filipino blood, and They made contact with my dad. My dad is usually the socialite, so he's the one who's pretty active in terms of communicating. So yeah, even to this day, like I wasn't 100% sure. They didn't tell me right away. It just so happened that same summer, right after the NCAA tournament, a couple months, I actually flew out here with a group called Athletes in Action, the sports ministry group.
Yeah.
So I came out with Athletes in Action, myself and about 12 other Division I athletes. And we came out, we played a college tour here. So we played Ateneo, we played FEU right off of their championship. Played UP, some of the Mapua, some NCAA schools as well. And then we went to Baguio and we were here. And sure enough, right, that first game, it was, somebody shared their testimony at halftime at all these games. And I was the first one. We played at Mapua. I remember it clearly. And I had mentioned that I had Filipino blood, and from there it kind of lit the match. That got the conversation going even more. And so by the time we were done with our 2 weeks, it was basically every halftime was the announcement. I think I was wearing number 3 at the time, but number 3 for Athletes in Action. Gabe Norwood has Filipino roots, and I think it was actually Coach Nash Rosella. Coach Nash was with us. He was one of our guides. And yeah, I just kept in contact. I went back and finished my senior year at George Mason. And right after we lost in the conference championship my senior year to VCU, who ended up they beat Duke in the first round that year. But we lost to them. And the national team was training in LA, in Los Angeles, not Lower Antipolo, but Los Angeles. And
That's a Filipino joke. That's a Filipino joke.
You got to sneak in that one, huh?
But they basically flew me out. I was still finishing my classes, but they flew me out for the weekend for a tryout with probably the best national team on paper. And I went out, I performed, I played well and held my own, went back to school, finished school. And then right when I finished, I was basically flown back out to Belgrade to join. At the time, it was the RP team. Joined the RP team, and the only non-PBA player at the time. So that was really my introduction to, international play. I'd been here the summer before, so I understood, the style of play and things like that. But to really be
who were the
settled.
players back then when you first tried out for PBA?
That first RP team, that was it was. Asi, Eric Mink, Kirby, Raimundo, James Yap. And then you had Jimmy, JJ, Mark, Don, Ren, Tony De La Cruz, who ended up, I lived with Tony De La Cruz when I first got out here. He took care of me. Who else was there? Kelly Williams. I believe KG was there.
That's a strong squad. That's a strong squad.
Yeah, Ronadell. It was, on paper, for me, still one of the best teams I've ever been a part of.
So you had your dual citizenship by the age of 16?
No, at the time that wasn't the rule. They changed that rule around I think that was Marcio and Chris Lutz. That Gilas group is where they changed the rule. But I was able to get mine right basically I think I was 21 at the time. 20 or 21 is when I got mine.
That's great. That's super great. So among all the players there, who was your closest? Tony? Aside from Tony?
Aside from Tony, I think everybody knows Jimmy's leadership qualities and kind of how he takes young guys in. Jimmy looked out from the start, but actually it was everybody. I really think, I forgot to mention Danny Siegel was there as well, but and we have Pennsylvania connections. He graduated high school in Pennsylvania and won a state championship. Actually, a lot of state championships. His team is legendary in Pennsylvania, but Danny looked out. We had that connection. Kirby was instrumental in terms of sharing his faith. I don't know if I should go on that tangent, but he really opened up with his faith and kind of helped me with that. And also taught me how to be a pro. He gave a great advice, and I didn't even have to ask. He came up and shared it with me. So, all the vets, all those guys really looked out and built a special relationship.
But here's a question. Who welcomed you in that tryout? Who welcomed you to the Filipino style of basketball in that tryout? If you know what I mean.
yeah, there's two different ways to look at that. You know, Ronadell RDO definitely introduced me, gave me a nice little welcome. You know, the welcome hard foul.
Yeah.
Mick Panisi welcomed me with the pranks though. You know, I was getting the Obama comparisons early, so he decided to take my shoes. I only had one pair of shoes, and he wrote Obama huge, like right across my shoes. So if you look back at some of the pictures from the first FIBA Asia I played in, I have Obama written on my shoes.
That's the
All
only
because
shoe
of
you
Mick
had
Panisi.
at that time, right?
Yeah, all because of
That's
Mick Panisi.
oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, who among
Yeah,
the players were shocked you in terms of skill? Were you shocked with how well they
man,
played the guard spot?
everybody. To be honest, it was one of those things. The first wow moment for me was really the Jones Cup. The first Jones Cup I played in, we were playing Chinese Taipei. I remember it clearly. We're playing Chinese Taipei, and they had a guy who had just came back from the NBA Summer League. He was playing with
Yeah,
like the Kings or something. So, you know, I kind of sensed the popularity of JJ and Mark just from, you know,
yeah,
just being around them, but I didn't really realize it until that game. And Mark just took over. Like I never, you know, I've had played against some special players and watched, you know what I mean, guys growing up in the States. But with Mark, I tell you, he took it like a personal challenge. It could have been one-on-one. Like those two could have just played each other one-on-one, and I think the whole crowd would have been happy. And yeah, Mark just took over that game, and he was talking trash. He was in the other guy's face, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he wanted no parts of Mark. Mark took over and was a show, and that was like the first like I'm looking around like, who is this guy? Like, who is the spark? Who is Mark Kagiwa? This guy is unbelievable. And yeah, definitely my first Jones Cup. That happened.
Well, but
yeah.
definitely you
What
going
was
in
it like?
the
Go, Coach Mike. Go, Coach Mike.
go coach, go coach.
No, I was
Well,
just
I was just
asking
going
on
to say that
how is it? Sorry. How is it going? How was it? How was the Filipino community support in different countries like Belgrade, Taiwan? I know
Yeah,
there Filipinos are all over the world because that's the number
everywhere.
one economic engine, the
Yeah,
OFWs. So how are they
yeah.
welcoming you, or how was it like? How was the Filipino communities in different countries?
Oh man, there's nothing like it. And it's not even. It doesn't even matter the numbers, right? You know, if it's the Jones Cup is essentially home games for us. You
Yeah,
know, the
yeah.
whole
That's what they
Filipino
said.
community.
Mhm.
Like even Taipei, we have more fans when we play against Taipei than you know the Taiwanese do. But you know, it's such a blessing. It's a sense of home, no matter where you're at. You know, we traveled. You know, fast forward, we go to Estonia, and there's like a group of seamen that are there that had a day off, and they found out and came and supported our games. Or in Lithuania, I think there was the same situation. You know, guys driving 3 or 4 hours just to watch us, just to support. And you know, I think you know Puso is not used lightly. You know, I think
Mhm.
when it comes to the game of basketball, when it comes to the national team, especially, and it's not just the players. I think it's the fans. It's our you know our kababayan all over the world that come out and support, and it's nothing like it.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps right there.
No, for sure, for sure.
Imagine,
Same
bro.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say earlier that ever since you got into the PBA in 2008, where you were the number one overall draft pick, your numbers just seem to be just kept on improving year on year, and even the awards that you're getting, champion in 2012 and 2016,
Yeah, 16.
playing under just one team, rain or shine. Uh,
Yeah,
how I noticed too, Gabe, that there's actually just three kinds of Gabe Norwood that we know in the Philippines, the teams that you played on.
yeah,
So, well, it's really just what the George Mason, then you got Rain or Shine, and then you got the Philippine team. How big
yeah.
are you in terms of loyalty from a player standpoint to a team?
I think it's something that's rooted in me. Probably being a coach's kid. You know, just seeing my dad going from certain schools, but still building such great relationships with his players. It's more than the sport. It's growing relationships. It's long term. Kind of things that you're putting into place. So for me, it's the same thing when I came here and played my first year in the PBL for Happy. I still talk to the Pedro, the Lamoyan group, and everybody there, as they're still family to me. And I think that was something that was no fluke that Rain or Shine was able to draft me, and our kind of like our morals and things like that kind of fit perfectly. Boss Raymond, Boss Terry, Mommy You, and the whole family has really just embraced me from my rookie year up until now. And at the end of the day, we're playing basketball. We're blessed to be able to play, and it's business. If something happened in the future and I had to go somewhere else, I'd probably be just as loyal. But for the time being, I'm gonna kind of pay back what I can to the company that gave me the opportunity.
Wow, that sounds so refreshing. I heard stories from Boss Raymond and how loyal you are to the team and to the people right there. So that's very refreshing to hear it from you.
For sure.
Well, one of the
There are only three
awards,
uniforms.
yeah,
Go,
just
Push
just
Bike.
three uniforms, just three uniforms for that matter. But one of the awards that's really impressive, that you received was the 3 straight years that you got the Samboy Lim Award, sportsmanship.
That's my
I mean,
idol,
right?
Samboy.
Yeah.
That's Coach James's idols. Normally, a player
Awesome.
with your stature and with that long playing years would be taking it easy, but you guys have been you've been playing it really clean, and therefore you're garnering this award. Talk to us about how you keep on going this way.
Yeah, I mean, first off, to have any award attached to Samboy is pretty awesome. Getting a chance to meet him, just around the basketball community, and knowing how well loved he is by everybody. You don't hear a lot of bad
Uh-huh.
things spoken about Samboy Lim, and I think it's especially what he's gone through in these past couple of years. Thoughts and prayers continue to go with him. But just in terms of the game, I just try to enjoy it. Try not to take things too seriously. I think that's really the start for me. Like I said, basketball was always my icebreaker. It was the way I made friends. It was my introduction. Whether it was moving in the States or moving here. Just trying to respect the game, respect my opponent, which at the time is, I think, the biggest respect for your opponent is playing hard. Making them work, and earning any win, or respecting any loss that the better team won that day. So, getting that award is truly an honor. But at the same time, I think it could go to a lot of guys, because I think a lot of guys in the league are playing the game the right way, and doing what they can to push Filipino basketball forward.
I have a question for you, because I
Yeah.
remember when Samboy Lim won the sportsmanship award, he got a technical foul in that game after he won the award. How many technical fouls have you received in the PBA?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I purposely, I try to get one a year. So like, that's my max. I've never gotten more than one in a season. I think I've gotten one of those like fluke landing spot F1s, but other than
Mhm.
that, I give myself one emotional day to really let it out, and I usually get a tech on that emotional day.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
can still
thought you were
remember
getting
that
one
game.
when you blocked LA Tenorio's layup.
LA,
Remember
oh, I
that?
thought for sure. No, that was the first game of the season too, so I would have got my technical out of the way really early that season.
Yeah. Earlier before the broadcast, Gabe, we were talking about you being the elder statesman now of Rain or
Yeah.
Shine, and any chance that we'll be seeing you coaching? Because I think in one of your practice games, you ended up coaching your team. That anywhere that we get to call you Coach Gabe Norwood.
Man, I mean, I'm definitely open to it. Just being around sports my whole life, it seems like a kind of natural transition, in terms of my next career, or anything like that. But I'm definitely embracing the role of being the vet. As long as I'm still Kuya now. As long as I don't turn into like Tito, then I'm good. I gotta stay. I gotta stay in like that Kuya window, and then
Yeah.
I know I'll be safe. But yeah, it's just fun. You know, I like I'm to a fault at times. Probably, you know, it's a lot of times your strength is also your weakness. So, you know, in terms of my career, probably just the way I kind of overthink situations or try to overanalyze. You know, it's naturally, you know, kind of what I do with the game, thinking of options and scenarios and things like that. So, you know, Coach Chris in this particular practice kind of passed the board over. Coach Chris actually does that a lot in terms of players or assistant coaches trying to just, you know, kind of instill power in them and what they're thinking. So it was a fun time. It was a well drawn up play. It didn't lead to points, but, you know, I like to think it was a well executed plan.
Coach Gabe in the building.
We'll see. We'll see.
You'll get your gray hairs right away.
I know, right?
That will
Is
be
that
early.
guaranteed when you coach, you get that white hair already?
Just the instant one.
The instant one white.
Well, speaking of coaches, well, we've lined up some of the coaches that you got to play for, and
Yeah.
talk us through the learnings that you gained from the different coaches. Let's start off maybe with Coach Yang.
Yeah, Coach Yang, you know, for as much as he shows, you know, on camera and things like that, Coach Yang is a family man. I think getting to know him off the court, the way he's able to instill confidence in players, you know, you see his system. Everybody gets to play. Everybody has to be ready. And, you know, I think it's helped so many players. He's helped so many players in terms of, you know, longevity of their career or even getting opportunities on other teams. You know, there's guys who might not have gotten those same looks on, you know, other programs and things like that under certain coaches. So, you know, really just understanding how to maximize your minutes was really eye-opening for me. It took a while for me to adjust. You know, Coach Kaloy drafted me my first 2 years. I think I led the league in minutes, myself and Saul Mercado. And then Coach Yang comes in and my minutes go from almost 40 to 25, but it was for a purpose. You know, it wasn't personal. It was a plan. And, you know, as a pro, I had to adjust, and I think it helped me in the long run.
How many curse words does coaching say in a game or in a practice? I just want to know.
I mean, out loud, or in his head. Those are probably two different numbers.
Out loud. Let's put it that way.
I mean,
out loud.
I mean, it depends on how the game's going. You know, more intense, more profanity comes out. But at the end of the day, if you want to be coached, it's all love. It's all for a purpose. If you don't mess up, you don't get cussed at. So if you play well, it's hard to get yelled at if you're playing well.
The 25 minutes, did you feel that it really extended your career as a professional? Looking back?
Yeah, looking back, you know, it did. Like I said, when you're young and you want to be out there all the time, and you really got to humble yourself. It was, I'll be completely honest, it was tough for me the first year and a half, you know, to really figure it out, to be effective, especially when I'm not a volume type of player. I'm not a volume shooter. I'm not you know, I like to get into the flow of things, but it was a cool challenge. You know, once we figured out, not just myself, but everybody, you know, I think we made at least 10 straight semis, you know, in one span. And it was a testament to us buying into the system, getting on the same page, and really figuring out how to be, you know, the best that we could for the minutes that we had.
Well, for what it's worth, Rain or Shine could have gotten to 4 championships had it not been to two series wherein you couldn't get over the hump of a talk and text, and eventually you got to play for Coach Chot in the Gilas team. Yeah. What were some of the things that you noticed and you learned or you observed with Coach Chot as he ran that team?
Yeah. Coach Chot is just like, he's the mental guy, man. He can get you locked into a game. You know, he's a motivational speaker by trade, and he was all about, you know, his team buildings, his team activities, and building culture and atmosphere. Was something that, you know, the results that we had with Gilas were all a part of that. You know, there was no accidents along the way. Everything he had was planned, from the countries we traveled to and who we played against to prepare us for certain games, to, like I said, the team building. He had us, you know, we would have cooking competitions. We would have, you know, reciting poems and things like that. So, you know, Coach Chot, from a mental aspect of having you ready, And he's also one of the few coaches that as he's fiery as well. You know, Coach Yang is fiery, but Coach Chot is fiery as well in a different way. And he allows players to kind of be fiery with him, which isn't really common here. You know, you don't have that back and forth kind of argument that is met with understanding. And, you know, Coach Chot, I think a lot of players who have played with him could probably say that, to having their shouting matches with him, but at the same time, you know, get back in the game and play hard, you know, 30 seconds later.
And I think they're one of the best ways that the fire in Coach Chot was magnified and shown in the country was no better than the 2013 FIBA Asia Championships when you guys won over Korea. Talk to us about that experience, though. I mean, you got us all glued on TV, and even to this day, when I watch that clip, it still gives me that goosebumps.
Yeah, me and you both. You know, that moment, just understanding the history, you know, of the Philippines against Korea, and how many times we were stopped short, you know, whether it was the World Cup or the Olympic qualifications and things like that. That was an unbelievable game. And one of those, I speak about it all the time, that it was so needed. You know, I think at the time there was a lot of tension going on between the Philippines and Chinese Taipei, and we had lost to Chinese Taipei a couple nights before. And it was one of those things like, man, we have to make this right. We have to find a way. And, you know, Korea was in the path again. You know, kudos to them. They played amazing, made a great run there at the end. But, you know, big shots, big offensive rebound, big shot by Jimmy, the offensive rebounds by Ping, you know, Jason getting to the basket whenever he wanted. And, you know, everybody just stepping up in a time of need. To this day is one of the craziest games, most awesome experiences that I've had as a basketball player.
Well, I still clearly remember, Gabe and Coach James, how you did the prayer after the game. Man,
Yeah.
you guys were very passionate doing that prayer at the end of the game.
Yeah, the sacrifice. I think, you know, people forget that, you know, whether it was that preparation for that FIBA Asia or the World Cup, a lot of us were away for our families for almost 2 months. You know, at the time, my kids were even younger. My youngest wasn't even born yet. And, you know, my two eldest sons were still pretty young. And that's just myself. You know, every one of us on that screen had a story, a sacrifice, and we all knew it was going to be worth it. And to have that all pay off, it's nothing but an outpour of emotions from coaches to, you know, Coach Yang, I think, was commentating the game. He was in tears, seeing, you know, the bosses and families and everybody embracing, you know, especially to do it on your home court. There was nothing like it.
Well,
I
Coach
think
Noli Mejos
that's
here. Coach James, bumabate.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Coach Noli Mejos says hi to you.
Coach.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think in every household at that game, there were tears shared, or in every streets basketball,
Right.
there's a basketball
Right.
court. So they were trying to emulate you guys. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And
Go ahead, Coach James.
one of the things that will forever be etched in our history was your dunk. Well, how was it? How was it leading up to that dunk? Everyone will talk about it in the future for sure. It will be in
I mean,
all highlights from here on out.
It was the perfect scenario, the perfect situation. You know, I'm a 2-foot dunker. I like to jump off the 1-2 step. I don't really jump off of 1 foot too much. So to be, you know, Jason dropped the perfect pass. I'm on the left side, so I get to jump right to the middle of the basket with my right hand. So, you know, it was one of those emotional moments early in the first quarter, playing against Argentina. Like, I tell the story a lot. Before the game, you know, most national anthems are very stoic. You know, it's very serious moments. But playing against Argentina, it felt like a FIFA World Cup type of game, like soccer. And they're like jumping. There's a lot of like, it was almost like a party during their national anthem. And I think it really got us excited. It even hyped us up for the game, you know, to start the way that we did, to jump on them and get the lead, and, you know, to get that dunk and really ride that emotion all the way through the game was pretty special.
That should have been a win, Gabe.
Yeah, it
That
should
could
have
have been
been. Even
forever. Yeah.
Croatia should have been a
Yeah.
win,
Right.
Yeah.
but
All of
it's
it
one of those
were
things.
winnable games. Were winnable games.
Winnable
All of
games,
them, all
right?
of them.
Right. Well, you guys got us off our seats in that 2013 FIBA Championships, and including that world performance. And man, you got this country really jacked up from a basketball standpoint. So when we return, we're gonna talk more with Gabe Norwood together with Coach James. When we come back, we'll ask with Coach Gabe Norwood in the future.
Oh,
We'll ask
advance,
Gabe.
advance.
We'll ask Gabe what
10 more
his take
years.
on some
10
of
more
the
years
current
like
events.
Asi.
Right. 10 more. So we'll ask Gabe more about what he thinks about the current events in basketball when Bounce
Yeah.
Pass comes back.
We'll be back shortly. This is Bounce Pass, only here on V81 Radio Worldwide. Good news para sa mga kababayan natin abroad. Mapapanood nyo na ang inyong mga paboritong V81 radio shows sa Amazon Fire TV. Simple lang ang gawin. Go to Amazon.com at isearch lang ang V81 radio app and click install. Tiyak wala kayong shows na mamimiss dahil mapapanood nyo na ito anytime and anywhere you want. Gamit ang Amazon Fire TV. Tandaan lang, just install the V81 radio app and you're good to go. Another first from V81 Radio Worldwide. Ngayong July, tiyak tanggal ang inyong lumbay dahil All-Star started na naman ang inyong Home Not Alone kasama si Papa Gio this July. Stereotype, Bay, Six Cycle Mind, Itchy Worms, and Jem and Christina Academia. Kaya tumutok na Wednesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. California time o Thursdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Philippine time. Digitally available everywhere. Home Not Alone with Papa Gio this July. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles.
Hi! Karencita here! Pinoy music ba ang hanap mo? Download the V81 Radio app available on the App Store and Google Play. Free now! Free forever!
V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
Now back to Bounce Pass, only here on V81 Radio Worldwide.
Bounce Pass here with Mike together with Coach James and our guest for tonight, Gabe Norwood, two-time PBA champion, #1 overall draft pick in 2008 and Rookie of the Year in 2009. Gabe, staying on the topic of the national team, of course, we experienced a couple of weeks back the new breed of Gilas players that we have. Talk to us about your thoughts on their performance in the qualifiers.
Extremely proud. Just to know, especially the teams that they went up against, they go against Korea, to go against Indonesia with Lester Prosper, who's a great import, great player in himself, and their locals even playing well. It was truly, it was inspiring, even for my kids to sit and watch with them and to watch the replay. It was a little early in the morning for them, but to really cheer them on, know the work that went in and the situation, the pandemic, the bubble, and mentally how they were able to really just bond together and put out a great show, great performance, even out there in Serbia. So, the future is very bright for Philippine basketball.
Which of the players stood out for you in this lineup?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, you look at guys. For myself, look at guys that are possibly in my position, right? So that I played, but Dwight Ramos, his versatility. It's unfortunate that he got hurt and wasn't able to play in Serbia. He was impressive, just his composure. I like, Baltazar and Will Navarro and their chances to be, those big kind of versatile wing players. It looks like they're trying to play them at the three a little bit more. I've always been a big fan of Carl Tamayo since juniors. Like, I think he's really special in terms of what he could be. I was talking to coaches in the States, like, look, you guys need to look at this kid. And, I think he's a really, really good player with a lot of upside. But, our guard play was really what set the tone. You have RJ and SJ and Mike and all the way across the board. Jordan came in and played well when he had minutes as well. So, from top to bottom, I think, naturally not being able to see a lot of these guys for a long time since UAP or NCAA, just to see how they've grown and developed over these past, 14 months has been impressive. And I didn't even mention Kai yet. I didn't even mention the bigs. Like,
Yeah,
that's
for
crazy.
sure.
Like Kai practiced with us, with the Gilas group before. And, as much as you talk about, his height and what he could be, his basketball IQ, I think, is his biggest asset. He is extremely, extremely smart, unselfish, and plays the game at a really, really high mental level. So I think, as long as he's part of the program, I think, the five spot is pretty solid and set.
Would you have wanted Kaido to should have stuck it with Ignite and the NBA G League, or are you happy, or are you okay with him moving over to on the other
The
country,
NBL.
NBL?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if that's where his heart is, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's a 19-year-old kid. Naturally, everybody wants the best for him. We all don't know the best for him, but I think he's in a great situation. We played against the 36ers a couple years ago in a tune-up game here in Manila. So he's going to a good team, well balanced, a place where he's going to get to grow, not just as a player, but as a man. He gets to grow up and really mature. And who's to say next year that he doesn't enter the draft and could be in an even better spot that he could have been in if he did stay at Ignite. So, I think time will tell. He's in a great place to where he's able to play the game, provide for his family and himself, financially from that situation, but also in a stepping place to hopefully get to the NBA.
And Jimmy Alapag, your teammate in Gilas, said that he was asked whether he feels that there should be a need to reinforce them with PBA players, and Jimmy says we should. But then again, another basketball great, Ramon Fernandez, says no, let them grow on their own. What's your take on that? Would you rather that we mix it up with PBA players, or let this program just run until 2023?
I think the biggest thing is understanding the time that's going to be allotted. I'm all for any team that gets the most amount of time. To be honest, Coach Tab, his resume is proven, right? Whether it's before he got here to the country, I played against him when he was coaching Jordan and he was coaching, in these other places. So his resume is kind of a given of what he can do with time. Even with ourselves, with Coach Chot, our best outcome has been when we've had time to prepare. So I don't know if it, naturally you would think it would help to have pros. I think it would be beneficial, but it's not beneficial if you're adding them a week before the tournament or, 2 weeks before the tournament. If that's the case, I'd rather stick with the team that, has been there for months and months and built, this chemistry. At the end of the day, I think time and preparation is the kind of first thing that needs to be checked off the list in terms of, commitment and how things will go.
Yeah, that's very well said. It's the commitment and the time that we really need. Although we have better players, experience-wise and talent-wise in the PBA, it's really the time. So I have my compare here. What's a compare? It's
oh yeah,
his
it's
son
nice.
is a godfather. he's also called Obama in our place. He's now in Saudi. His name is Khalid.
Nice.
He asked for a shout out from you, Gabe.
Khaled,
It's just so
thanks for
funny.
tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, and hope all is well and you're safe and healthy.
Yeah, that's so funny. He commented. Anyway, going back to the topic, it's really nice that you are really following the Gilas program or the Philippine team, and the comparisons are really Will Navarro. The athletic version of Will Navarro is you. Oh, that's just
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, right.
That's just
right.
for me. The athletic version of
Yeah.
Will Navarro. So, when you said that the preparation, how long was your preparation back then when you had the World Cup? World Cup that time.
Yeah, I think that's a great kind of peg. You know what I mean? That World Cup, I was away from my family for 2.5 months. You know, we flew out to Miami. That's when we picked up Andre Black. So we flew out. We had training camp in Miami. I believe that was almost 10 days. Flew straight to Spain for a mini camp. I think that was around another week. Went to France for a pocket tournament for another 4 or 5 days. Went back to Spain for another 2 or 3 weeks. And we're there until the World Cup. We didn't come back. And, you know, it's the commitment that has to be made. You know, unfortunately, just for the situation, to draw a comparison, you look at the last World Cup where we did not perform well, myself included, probably the worst stretch of basketball that I've played in my life. But a lot of that was preparation. You know, I think we only had 7 guys that flew to Spain for our training camp. You know, I got injured in our first game, so I didn't play any tune-up games up until the World Cup started. You know, my first game was basically Italy in the World Cup.
During the World Cup where you did that dunk, or you were playing extremely well in both ends of the floor. Were there any offers from another country, like EuroLeague at that time or a G League? Did anyone get in touch with you or try to get in touch with you at that time?
Not that was brought to my knowledge. Actually had some stuff before. I think somewhere in the Middle East and things like that. Before, you know, we had other tournaments, you know, up until that World Cup. The year that we actually won the Jones Cup the year before. So, and that was, I believe, the Stankovic Cup that we played in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I believe I had it wasn't like a hard offer. It was more of an inquiry. I wouldn't call it an offer from one of the coaches there that was present at the tournament there, but didn't pan out into anything. But naturally, when those kind of the thought of being able to bring in Asian imports pop up, you know, more inquiries than actual offers. I'll say that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, one of your fans here is asking, Gabe is my idol. So,
Ronald,
Yeah.
what's up, man?
Let
Coach-
me
Ronald
ask
definitely
you.
gave me.
Gave
Coach
you what?
James got
Ronald
a
definitely gave me
question
my
for you.
introduction. He definitely gave me one of my introductions to the
He's a
PBA.
good friend. He's a good friend. He's a good friend of mine.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what we were gonna ask you, right? But staying on
What did he do to welcome
Yeah.
you in the PBA? So let's.
specifics.
Man, if I remember correctly, I think he had posted me up. It was a post up, and like Ronald is super skilled on the block. Like he has post moves for a guard, and I think he definitely initiated me with the lead elbow to the chest for some space. You know, you're a little bit too close to me, rookie. Like go ahead and back up. But yeah, Ronald's one of those guys I've learned to respect, consider a friend. So it's cool to see him on here. I hope he's doing well.
Well, Gabe, now that you mentioned about rookies, of course, we're hearing news about the players wanting to go for other opportunities abroad.
Yeah.
Of course, we're talking about 30 Ravenna started it off. Then there's this news about Kiefer, and we got a slew of other players that's potentially going to have to move over. Your thoughts on this, Gabe?
I think it's awesome. I think it's a compliment, you know, to me. It's a compliment to the talent that we have in the country. You know, whether it's PBA, UAP, NCAA, and it's a compliment to the way that we play, our value here in Asia. You know, even from a financial standpoint, you know, naturally there's Filipinos everywhere in Japan, so I'm sure there's going to be great turnout to support, you know, our local players. And it's kind of, I feel like it's been a thing that's been coming, right? You know, you look back to the ABL and the first years of the ABL, all the Asian imports were from here. They're all Filipino. You look at Patrick Cabahug and you know, just a slew of
Stanley.
players, Leo Apanido, Stanley,
Joshua
you know, I'm
Manzon.
forgetting Josh, even Matt Wright, Mo Tautua, Justin Milton, all these guys. You know, it wasn't as maybe big a league as Japan, but this thing it's been happening for a little while, and you know, I think to have it on this big of a stage, and you know, you're hearing rumblings about the KBL possibly, you know, opening its doors as well. So I expect more of it, and I'm all for it. I'm all for growing the game and growing Filipino basketball, whether it's here or abroad.
They want some of that Filipino flavor, you know. You know what
For
I mean?
sure, for sure. We bring something different. We bring something different.
It's very different. That's what all of my friends from abroad tell me. The basketball here is different. Everyone knows the game. Everyone wants to play. Everyone can say something to you because they've been studying the game ever since they were kids. It's crazy.
Right. And bringing something different also is one thing that Gabe brings to NBA Philippines, as he writes articles as well for NBA Philippines. And one of one of the a couple of articles that you wrote, one of them interested us about, you know, we talk about local players playing globally. And there are global players that you guarded. You mentioned 5 players that you were toughest to guard for. You talk to us about this list.
It was a list. I think I wrote in the article, I left the point guards. You know, I've been tasked to guard various positions, but I tried to keep it to wings and forwards on this list. But yeah, all NBA talent, all guys that I highly respect and brought different challenges. They were all different players in a sense, but you know, as a defender was a great challenge. Francisco Garcia, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, very good college player as well.
Awesome at Louisville.
Awesome
and
guy.
He was one of those players where it was a kind of a wow moment for me. I don't get starstruck too much, but I was such a big fan of his and his composure, you know, his versatility, not super fast, but just really effective. Nicholas Batum was just high IQ. It was almost like he was playing mind games with me. He just wore me down for 3 quarters where I felt like I was winning. I felt like I got the best of him for 3 quarters. And then when winning time came, it was winning time. Get me the ball, and he had big shots, you know, had me off balance to where I'm fouling him, forcing and ones. Joe Ingles was just super efficient. No wasted movement. Every open shot, it seemed like he knocked down. He made the right play. It seemed like 100% of the time. Bogdanovich was physically stronger than I thought. You know, it was one of those things when you watch the scouting report, it's like, oh, I got this guy figured out. But man, he was physically strong and used it to his advantage. And I had to put Giannis on the list just strictly off potential. You know, he played sparingly, didn't play particularly well against us in the World Cup.
Yeah,
but you saw the potential. Like walking around the hotel, there was somebody from the Bucks with him 24/7.
Right.
Like watching what he ate, like everything that he did was monitored, and you could tell he was gonna be special.
But I'll bet this: when they win the championship, if they win the championship this year, we'll see the Mark Pingres move on Giannis in Philippine social media. I'll bet you that. I'll bet you that.
It'll definitely blow up. It'll definitely come back.
Yeah, it will blow up. How was Giannis like when you were playing him? He was 19 at that time. How was he like?
Yeah, I mean, he was the way you see him now. To be honest, he was pretty like down to earth. He actually came. He was back in Manila for a guesting. He got flown in for. I can't remember what the occasion was, but I ended up myself and Ronadel de Ocampo ended up being, you know, kind of the representatives of the PBA there. so we got to catch up. We talked like about the game, and it was like you're talking to one of your friends. He's super likable, very approachable guy, and I think that really shows at how he plays and kind of the kind of atmosphere and chemistry that he builds with his teammates.
Wasn't he mad at Ranedel for giving him a Philippine elbow in your game?
Oh, I'm sure.
You forgot
I'm
about
sure.
it.
And then and at the end of the game, that's when I think LA and one of their big guys, LA Tenorio and their big guy, got into a little argument, ending the game. So that was the one thing we talked about. Giannis remembered that moment more than the game itself.
More than the game itself. Who among the locals is the toughest to guard? All Filipino, no imports yet.
Oh man, for me, it took me a long time to figure out PJ Simone.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
PJ was so very unorthodox, not fast, but super just. He moved different. It was almost like if basketball was music, he moved to a different rhythm than everybody else. So PJ, but is at the top of the list. But for me, it was Willie Miller. There's nothing that he could like. He could do everything. Willie, when Willie was locked in and on, there was no stopping Willie. Willie was the toughest for me to guard.
Did you just try to joke around with him so that he won't go hard?
Yeah, try to keep him laughing. Try to crack a joke.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Because when Willie when he's on,
it might get serious.
He's a different monster when he's on.
There's a question here, Gabe, from our viewers.
Yeah.
He says, Dudley Flores, he says, how about Kim Ming Gubo of South Korea?
Yeah, is he playing currently? I'm trying to remember. All right, he might be the big guy.
Yeah,
who's
could
the
be the
hardest
big
person
guy.
to guard internationally?
Internationally.
Aside, in Asia, because you already talked about you already talked about the top players in the NBA.
Yeah, I'd go between Fadi El Khatib and Samid Barami from Iran. Two guys who I've gone up against a lot. We actually are friends. Like we follow each other. We are pretty supportive and comment when we have achievements and things like that. Oh, number 4 from Korea, yeah, shooter. I mean, man, he came out on fire. And I know I get a lot of credit for the block in that game at the end, but he was definitely he hit a couple on me too. So I'm lucky I timed my block and got the one that mattered.
Fadi El Khatib.
Yeah, the El Tigre.
Very long career.
Yeah, awesome career. I think he's the all-time leading scorer in FIBA Asia.
Most probably. He
I'm pretty sure.
Long.
Well, you know what's happening now in the basketball community. Of course, the NBA finals are around, and game 1 just finished today. I would like to get your fearless forecast. Who do you think, Bucks or Suns?
Yeah, I gotta stick to my heart on this one, and I gotta go with the Suns. I gotta go with, even though Giannis played, which was a huge surprise. My whole grounds for picking the Suns in the beginning was like picking the more healthy team, but it seems to be their year. Chris Paul, he's wanted it so badly, and he's that close to getting his championship. And I think Devin Booker he's a player. I got lucky enough to watch Devin Booker play in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, and just a guy that makes basketball look easy. He plays at his own pace, though he is athletic and fast. He's never out of control, and DeAndre Ayton's playing great basketball. I think all their role players, enough bodies to throw at Giannis and Chris Middleton to make them uncomfortable. So I have the Suns in 6, in 5, and 6, in 4.
Suns in 4, you're gonna get the shirt.
But it's funny that my oldest son, I think, has the Suns in 4. My middle son has the Suns in 6, and then the 4-year-old, he has a Giannis jersey, so he has the Bucks in 5. He's 3 years old, but he got the Bucks in 5.
Bucks in 5. That's a tough call. After the win of the Suns, it's a tough call.
Yeah, that's tough.
We'll see.
Right. Well, you alluded to Gabe earlier about when you were in George Mason, the way that the culture was built in that school and doing that
Yeah.
2006 run. Aren't you impressed as well on the culture that was built by Monty Williams before he got in the Suns? They were
Yes.
horrible.
Yeah, I mean, his story itself is awesome. The tragedy and things that he's
Mhm.
gone through, and just knowing he's a man of faith, what he's grounded on, what his foundation is. You hear him, and you can hear it through his interviews, right? You can hear the way he presents himself, and
Mhm.
how he knows it's a special and really blessed situation that he is in to team back up with Chris Paul, where he had some of his best years, but to also have this young group that he's able to kind of mold and build. It's cool to see, and naturally, I'm sure there's a lot of great stories like that in coaching, but you only hear it when it wins, and to see it, kind of come to fruition is pretty cool.
Well, as you know, in every basketball conversation, this question could not be eluded. Your greatest of all time, Gabe. This is your last question for the night.
My goat has to be MJ. It's not really up for too much of a debate to me.
Yes,
Kobe is
sir.
special in his own way. Braun is my year. We're the same year out of high school, but yeah, Michael Jordan. Just from childhood, from memories to accolades, and impact off the court. Just changing the landscape of basketball, dream team, everything. Yeah, I got to go with MJ.
All right. Well, there's one more question before we let you go, Gabe,
Okay,
from Tikul Yao. He asked, he's one of our regular viewers and a good friend of Coach
nice.
James. Hi, coaches. Awesome as always. Gabe, what are your thoughts on what the great MJ said that the NBA is actually a lot of years away from being competitive versus the world?
Um, I think it's the same kind of argument with Gilas. I think it's time and preparation. I really do. At the end of the day, from a talent standpoint, from top to bottom, I don't think you can really argue that the talent level in terms of the NBA players and the, I guess, American in a sense. You have a lot of players that have migrated, or first generation that play for Team USA. But I think you saw it in their last World Cup performance as well. It was a lot of guys backing out last minute. Are you committed? Are you not? So I think I don't completely agree, because I think competitive and winning are two different arguments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
we were competitive in the World Cup a couple of years ago, but we only won one game. You know what I mean? We didn't make it out. But I think to get back to really being dominant, I think it's really being locked back in on the program, and guys really committing themselves to winning and winning together.
All right. Coach James, any last question for Gabe before we let him go?
Wow, it's just amazing to have you here. You're very down to earth. And well, last one. Who's your toughest to guard in all of your career, coming out of high school, even college? Who's that one person that you can't really get a hold of or can't really figure out? That one person.
Man, toughest to guard. I'll go, since I mentioned international, I mentioned local player. I'll say a PBA import. I'll go with the import. And for me, probably
Oh
Anthony
yeah,
Johnson.
forgot.
Justin Brownlee's high on the list, but Anthony Johnson, my rookie year when he was with Santa Lucia, was just a scoring machine. Like, it was one of those guys that he was athletic, shoot the three, he could handle the ball. I think he went on to play for Alab. I think he was a import for Alab as well. But Anthony Johnson was up there. Anthony Johnson, Justin Brownlee's up there. And the first year that Zach Graham came out and played for Air 21, Zach Graham was, I thought he was going to go from here to the NBA. That's how, like, I thought
Mm-hmm.
he was that talented. But in terms of the guys that I played against, the imports that we've had some awesome imports, but those three would probably be towards the top of my list.
Wow. And so, well,
Is
we'd
Anthony
like to
Johnson same as Quan Johnson?
No.
Is he
Anthony
the same
Johnson.
person?
I don't think so. AJ was with Santa
I
Lucia
forgot
when they
to say.
had
Yeah,
they
AJ.
still
Yeah,
had
AJ. I
Kelly.
got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Kelly
Kelly and Ryan
Williams. No,
Reyes and
mistake.
Denok
My
and
fault.
yeah, Joseph
Yeah.
Yo, all those guys were still
Yep,
there.
I remember now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we
You,
love to keep this
you were not in the
conversation, but
PBA
we
before.
gotta. But
Yep. Glad to
we'd
let you
love to
go.
keep this
You have
conversation, but we
practice
have to
tomorrow.
let Gabe go
Right.
for his practice and preparations. Gabe, you have the floor for your final parting shots before we let you go.
No, first off, thank you, Coach Mike, Coach James, for having me. Just more power to you guys and the podcast and the bounce pass. This has been fun. To all my family, friends, fans, thank you so much for the support. Looking forward to getting back on the court and playing. And Rain or Shine just putting out an awesome product and something that you can be proud of. And yeah, I mean, good times. Hopefully we can do it again. And Astro Breaks. I'm trying to jump back in.
Get some break with Astro breaks.
Yeah. I wanna do Aloha Eats as well, probably on the weekend with the family. So
Nice,
we'll put
nice,
that
nice.
order,
Yeah.
shout
Enjoy.
it out.
Get
That's
Guys,
right.
the
order from
Loco
Aloha
Moco,
Eats.
Loco Moco,
Yeah.
Aloha Eats. Please, please, please. Thank you.
Loco Moco is your recommendation, Gabe?
That's yeah. You gotta that's at least one. You gotta get at
Okay.
least one. Get extra gravy, and you should be good.
All right. All right. That's what we'll get then on the
Loco
weekend.
Moco.
Well, thank you very much, Gabe, for joining us, and hopefully we'll get you next time. And
Yep.
more power to you, rain or shine, in your career and the family. Thank you very much, and
Thank you
God
so.
bless.
Thank you. God bless, guys.
Thanks, Gabe. God bless.
God bless, Gabe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Grabe. Napaka down to earth ni Gabe, coach, no?
Oh, nakakainis, no? Parang masyadong mabait.
Oh, sobrang bait.
Well, iba, parang ano eh.
Parang ano coach eh, no? Sige,
Parang
coach.
pagkausap mo siya, parang wala siyang nagawa sa basketball, no? Yung
Oh, right. Right.
parang wala pa siyang na-accomplish. Parang ganun na parang
Oo.
so light to talk to, tapos parang down to earth lang, parang he sees everyone at the same level, level-headed, he knows his feet are set
Yep.
on the floor, ano mo yan. Parang iba talaga si Gabe.
Yeah, tsaka talagang sobrang napaka-humble niya, and very very straightforward. Very rarely do you find that in a guy na parang sobrang accomplished. When we look at his resume, no, normally yan iba na yung character mo as you go, pero siya parang he's staying grounded despite everything that he's accomplished
Yeah.
in his basketball career.
Yeah.
All right, so it's getting a bit late, coach. Baka may parting shot ka na before
Well,
we
yun,
leave.
ganda lang ng mga takes ni Gabe. We would have wanted to get him to talk more about how he prepares mentally, how he prepares his body. Kasi from a standpoint of living in a household where they were so competitive, they were living in a house where there's a coach in the house, a professional coach, and a professional football player as well. So parang grabe, no? Grabe yung pinanggalingan niya, and then he believes in sports psychology. Gustong-gusto ko yung guy na yan eh. Yun yung nag-open ng eye sa akin sa pagbabasa ng mga books. Doon ako nahilig sa sports books si Dr. Rotella. Yun yung doon ako nag-start tumingin-tingin ng libro about mental toughness yan. So nakakatuwa na mabalikan. And very humble siya nung kay PJ Simon. Ang daming PBA players nagsasabi na si PJ Simon sobrang hirap bantayan kasi awkward, tapos hindi naman ganun kabilis, pero may 3 points, may perimeter. Nakita mo kung paano nirespeto lahat ng kalaban niya, no?
Right.
Pati sa Gilas and ibang bansa. Napakabait ng mamang to. Napakabait.
Well, shout out to Astro Breaks for making this happen. Justin Perez, thank you very much for making this a good episode with our guest Gabe Norwood. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Next week, join us again. We're gonna have a little bit discussion about the triangle offense with Coach Mike Sagigit and the rest of his gang. Do follow us next week. That's going to be very interesting. A different take on one of the best coaches to run the triangle offense in the country. When you're talking about the PBA, Tim Cone, when you talk about triangle, this guy's got to be one of the best in running the triangle in the collegiate division. So on behalf of my partner, Coach James, Coach Mike here, saying good night to everyone. And remember, if it's anything basic basketball, Bounce Pass is your page. Good night.
Good night,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you for
Good
having.
night, everyone. Thank
Thank you
you.
for watching.
Yao, thank you. Daryl, thank you.
Hey, basketball junkies! Are you a beginner coach wanting to build the right foundation for your coaching know-how? Are you a player or a fan in research of the right source of basketball IQ, skills, and more? Well, if you are, BOUNCEPASS is for you. We bounce key foundational knowledge about a game and pass it on to you for practical use in taking their basketball knowledge and skills to the next level. Join Coach Mike Perez and Coach James Tolentino as they tackle everything hoops. This is BOUNCEPASS every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Philippine time. Only here on V81 Radio, worldwide. Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin.